Now turn to Part 2. Part 2. You will hear the speaker discusses how to support children in developing resilience by managing risks, fostering independence, and encouraging problem solving. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 13. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 13.
Today, I'm going to talk about the issue of encouraging children to learn about risk. At the moment, a lot of children are not allowed to play outside by themselves. So, unsurprisingly, there are concerns about how this is affecting them. One of the main reasons why parents are reluctant to let their children play outside is fear of crime. They worry that their children might be abducted or harmed in some way by a stranger. But research shows that the chances of a child being abducted are very low. In fact, they are far more likely to be injured in a car accident than to be abducted. There are also concerns about the risk of accidents. In recent years, playgrounds have been made much safer than they were in the past, and this has been done in response to claims for compensation when children have been injured. But this has had an unexpected result. While children can still have accidents in playgrounds, they are less likely to be injured than they were in the past. But, in fact, they are more likely to have accidents elsewhere because they have had fewer opportunities to learn how to take risks. Another concern is about the risk of bullying. Parents worry that their children will be hurt by other children, but, again, if children are kept at home, they won't learn how to deal with bullies. They need to be able to develop their own strategies for coping with bullies, and they can only do that if they are allowed to play with other children.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you'll have some time to look at questions 14 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 14 to 20.
So, what can parents do to help children to develop resilience? One thing that parents can do is to avoid overreacting to minor injuries. If a child falls over and gets a cut on his leg, for example, the parent can help by staying calm and reassuring the child that it's only a small cut and it will soon get better. Parents can also encourage children to be more independent. For example, they could let them walk to school by themselves or go to the shops on their own. This will help them to develop confidence and learn how to take responsibility for themselves. It's also important for children to learn how to manage risks. Parents can help by encouraging them to think about the risks involved in different activities and to decide for themselves whether or not they want to take those risks. For example, if a child wants to climb a tree, the parent can help by asking questions like, "How high do you think you can climb?" And "What's the worst thing that could happen if you fall?" This will help the child to think about the risks involved and to make an informed decision. Another way that parents can help is by encouraging children to solve their own problems. For example, if a child is having trouble with a friend, the parent can help by asking questions like, what do you think you could do to make things better? And how do you think your friend feels about the situation? This will help the child to think about the problem from different angles and to come up with a solution. Finally, parents can help by encouraging children to take part in activities that involve a certain amount of risk. For example, they could encourage them to join a sports team or to take up a hobby like rock climbing or skiing. These activities will help children to develop confidence and learn how to take risks in a controlled environment. So, in conclusion, it's important for children to learn about risk, and parents can help by encouraging them to be more independent, to manage risks, to solve their own problems, and to take part in activities that involve a certain amount of risk. By doing this, they will help their children to develop resilience and to become more confident and independent adults.
That is the end of part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 2.